Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Wangen, and I'd like to talk to you about how to successfully treat iron deficiency anemia. Now, it sounds simple. You might think, well, just take iron and you'll have it done. Well, unfortunately, it's not that simple, and many of you may have experienced that. There are three major problems that happen when people are trying to treat their iron deficiency anemia. The first one is that they have trouble tolerating their iron. We'll get into that in more detail, as we will all three. The second one is that although they're taking iron, they don't take it long enough. And the third problem is that even though they may be taking iron, they may not be absorbing the iron that they're taking, or even absorbing the iron that's in their food. So let's look at number one first. Not tolerating the iron that you're taking. Many people have this problem. This is actually a super common problem that we see all the time in patients who come to us who are taking iron, but they're having symptoms from the iron itself. They're having abdominal pain, they might have constipation, you might get nausea, you might even get diarrhea, but definitely you're getting some kind of digestive upset and you don't want to take your iron, so therefore of course you don't take it. That's a big problem, but it can be solved. What happens is that there are many different types of iron, and depending on the kind of iron that you're taking, you may tolerate it much better than a different form of iron. The most problematic type of iron is the most common, and that's iron sulfate. You want to avoid that. There are other types of iron that are often absorbed and tolerated much better. These are iron aspartate, iron bisglycinate, and iron picolinate. You want to have probably one of those three, although there are other types of iron as well. What you need to know is that there are many types of iron and that they are all digested and absorbed very differently, so you may tolerate one type better than another. You also want to take your iron with vitamin C. Get about 200 milligrams of vitamin C with each dose of iron, and that will help you absorb the iron better. So in fact, we have an iron made for us here that is an iron aspartate that has vitamin C in it. So you can get the two together and hit both things at once and hopefully tolerate it well as absorb it better than other forms of iron. The second problem is you may be taking the right kind of iron and tolerating it well, but you may not be taking it long enough. And this is a really common problem. What I often see is that patients will have taken iron for, say, 3 or 4 weeks, and they will have corrected the anemia that's showing up on their blood work, but they won't have improved their iron stores enough to sustain that correction in their anemia for very long. So they often go back into being anemic very quickly, maybe within a month, maybe within 3 or 4 months, but they tend to keep coming in and out of being anemic, or they tend to be borderline anemic all the time. Another thing you may notice, you may try to give blood and have trouble giving blood because they say you're anemic when your lab work isn't really very anemic, but your iron storage levels can still be low. Fortunately, you can test these. There's a simple test called ferritin, and that will measure your iron storage levels. Unfortunately, it's not run very often, so you want to make sure you have your doctor run this. And you can measure how well you're doing as you're taking iron or over the course of many months to make sure that your iron is properly increased. So this can take many months. In fact, it can take 6 to 12 months to adequately increase your iron storage levels. The normal range for ferritin is somewhere from 18 to 200. Now, if you're at 18, you're still really fairly deficient in iron. In fact, if you're under 30, you're still deficient. If you're under 50, you are still not anywhere near optimal levels of your iron storage levels. You don't need to be as high as 200 because you can get too much iron, and that's not a good thing either. Too much iron is toxic. So this is why you want to measure your iron storage levels as you're treating iron, but know that it will probably take you several months to adequately improve your iron storage levels to really truly prevent you from becoming anemic again, assuming that you're not losing blood some other way. So make sure that's measured. The third part is, what caused your anemia to begin with? Why did you become anemic? If you weren't losing blood, then chances are you weren't absorbing your iron very well. And that can be because of a digestive problem, either one that's obvious to you. You may have a digestive problem that you know about. That can be impacting your absorption of iron as well as other vitamins and minerals. You may not have any digestive problem at all, and your only symptom may be that you just don't absorb your iron very well. That may be the indicator to you that your digestion is not working properly. This is something that we commonly see at the IBS Treatment Center, and the good news is that it's solvable. We can improve digestion, we can improve absorption of minerals and nutrients, and you can go on living much healthier and having much more energy long term. So, to summarize, make sure you are getting the kind of iron that you can tolerate, so you may need to experiment. Make sure that you're taking it long enough and monitoring that by measuring your ferritin level every 3 or 4 months. And make sure that your absorption of your iron is as good as it can be, and that will give you the best chance of successfully treating your iron deficiency. Thank you.